I'm not sure you will find a bigger Raging Bolt hater on the planet. I've been hating on this deck ever since day one. Raging Bulk, this deck is trash. Even when other people were trying to play this deck, or they thought it was good, I always thought this deck could not be possibly good. And that's mostly because of its linear game plan, and how easy it felt like to stump at times. That said, as rotations happen in Japan and they have lost Pokestop, people have actually had to start thinking when playing this deck. And so we've gone ahead and introduced the Area Zero and Noctowl engine to this deck, which I am actually a big fan of, because it gives the deck a little bit more depth, and allows you to utilize some pretty cool cards and tools here. So, because I looked for Japan for inspired lists, a lot of the cards that we see here are post-rotation cards, but since, rotation hasn't happened yet over here, we can have the luxury of playing some other good things, such as the Radiant Greninja and the Roxanne, where most of the times I saw the Iono. I think there's some really cute things that you can do with this deck, and the fact that you have so many different ways of applying to different board states and finding your way out, and on top of Noctowl just being a great card in general, I think that this deck list is way cooler, and honestly a bit better than the current Raging Bolt list that we see today. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around. Alrighty, again, start with these first games here. I do elect to still go second, even though the evolution niche is nice. I think that there's too much going on in the game right now to be like, okay, well you can go ahead and take the luxury to go first. Especially because with Badoo around, and Iron Watcher too just sounds bad, especially when you're the aggressive deck. That said, I always get scared whenever my opponent chooses to go second because okay, well do I put in Rotom Fan because he can knock out something early, or do I try to take around something like a Marino or something with a Raging Bolt in the active. So there's definitely a lot of stuff going in and out of all these matches. My opponent seems like they are playing the Sarah Ledge here, and will be instantly proven right about this. What's interesting about playing all these Japanese deck lists is it's interesting to see how a lot of the Japanese, or how a lot of the decks in the Japanese meta just aren't that changed. It's mostly about specific archetypes being gone. So things like Regidrago, Lugia, Palkia, all that stuff is gone. But most of the other decks have stayed relatively intact. So it's kind of like this Raging Bolt deck. I mean, this Raging Bolt deck is the first or second best deck in Japan right now, based off of City League results. So it's definitely interesting. I go ahead and Fan Rotom here, and I'm trying to decide what else I want here, but I'm probably going to go ahead and Ultra Ball away here and try to go into Squawkabilly. So, I could have, or maybe there's a chance I should have held off on my spin here, so I could have spun after the Squawkabilly, but this is one of the first games I'm playing, so I'm giving myself a little bit of a benefit of a doubt. I'm going to go ahead and Squawkabilly with an empty hand here and get one of my Area Zeros. Originally I was playing one, I want to say Jamming Tower in here, or some other stadium of choice, because it'd be cool if I could get Area Zero and then bump off all the bad stuff on my bench. But honestly, you have so many liabilities regardless, between the Ogerpons and the Fez and the Latias, that it kind of doesn't matter if you remove the bench space. And the Jamming Tower I don't think does too much, at least in the context. Sure, it turns off Forest Hill stuff, but I'm not scared about Bravery Charms on most Pokemon, seeing as most Pokemon with the Bravery Charm still are going to get knocked out by 3 or 4 Raging Bolts, so it just didn't matter that much to me. Here, I'm hoping to dig a little bit further, so I'm going to go ahead and toss the Grass Energy, grab the Fighting, just keep going further. And I'm trying to save this Noctowl for as late as possible, because I need to know, what I need to grab here. And so this is going to allow me to at least grab a Nest Ball, so I can set up another Raging Bolt and get double the value out of my, off my Sada's Vitality. And I'm even going to go ahead and use the Fezandipiti before I check for the last card I need. I think I end up actually whiffing this Nest Ball, if I recall, because I end up drawing to the other thing that I want, which would either be the Latias or the Radiant Greninja, or just put down the Raging Bolt. It can't be too safe. What is nice about this one Glass Trumpet is that it just gives you the little bit extra push. It allows you to feel a little bit safe with pushing specific damage while maintaining some stuff on the field. It's really not a huge commitment. It's just it's sort of in the same vein that you'd play an Energy Retrieval to grab 2 Grass Energies. it's just nice to have the extra option for putting damage out there and sparing some stuff on the field. Because now, as long as I can attach my Raging Bolt, I'm going to have enough energies to definitely attack and probably get the next attack out. So, that's all swag. Unfortunately, for my opponent, it doesn't seem like they're in a great spot. They don't have a Fez out. I don't even remember. I just knocked out another Cerulege. I'm going to go ahead and go into the Squawkabilly here. Not entirely sure why I decided to do this. But I'm putting the Latias now regardless. It's like, whatever, right? And I could go ahead, rainbow my energies, be a little happy lad here as I... Oh yeah, I still have the Jamie Tower in this version, but, I end up changing it later. I think one other card that's like not in this list at this point is the Roxanne. I realized that I feel like the Roxanne's really good into these aggro matchups where we're both just winning 2 prizes at each other, so I really wanted to something to disrupt my opponent. And, typically the only times that I was playing that card was in the later stages of the game when I was intentionally trying to break my opponent. So I feel like the Roxanne is better than the Iono in that case, because for the most part you kind of have enough card draw and value anyways. Like, even just like the Noctowl will be able to dig you out of a lot of situations, which is so nice. It's so nice to not have to rely on like Pokestop to give you the goods, and you can just be like, okay, I'm gonna fan, and you either Iona me into a better hand, or you let me have Noctowl and go crazy and get like 4 cards, which is so swag. I definitely, I'm gonna gas this deck up a lot, but I really, really like this version of the deck the most. Oh yeah, and my opponent's gonna go ahead and finally get their Palkia V-Star online, but with the Cerulege in play, it's like, whatever. I will have to go ahead and get rid of my Noctowl that has the energy on it, which does kind of blow, and it's fine because I still have another Raging Bolt in play, and my hand is still pretty full, so as long as they Iona me, I'm going to be in a good spot. But typically, like, these decks run, like, max counts of everything else, so it's like, whatever. Also, he plays the Collapse of Mysticeo, like a dumbass, so, whatever. I could have ended this game a million ways, but I end up slowly BMing my opponent as they just end up conceding. I should have just ended that game quicker, but I was just like, I wonder how big I can get this number. Ooh. Playing the deck like this has maybe give it just a little bit more of appreciation. Because normally I don't like the deck because it has very little agency, and your opponent has all the tools to counterplay it. Like, Raging Bolt is just going to hold forward, but it's not holding forward in a way that's interesting or has a diverse gameplay. It's pretty much always, I'm going to smack Raging Bolt, and occasionally, you'll get the Briar with the Teal mask, but, like, that's hardly relevant in most cases. I also see my opponent here put down a Teal mask and like, oh, this is going to be the mirror, but no, it's Regidrago. Of course it's Regidrago. But, you eat this deck alive sometimes. So, we're hoping to get that. Unfortunately, it seems like my opponent's in a bad position. I mean, they could have Ultra Ball for a Squawkabilly, but it might have been prize, so they're stuck on the Regidrago here. Unfortunately for me, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this attack off very easily, but, who knows, right? You do have the power of Squawk, and Squawk can get you very far. Also, I'm going to do the thing that I talked about earlier. It's like, well, I should have definitely spun after I did everything, and this is kind of good because I could grab an extra card for fodder for Hoothoot, or I could just not grab another Noctowl because there's no Noctowls in the deck. Oops, definitely something I could have checked. I also put down the third Hoothoot. Not entirely sure if I had to do that, but yeah, it's where we are. We do get the Crispin, which does kind of save my life here, and allows me to get this attack turn 1 despite not having anything else to really go off of. And, we take those. The Crispin, doesn't feel great to play sometimes, but sometimes it's the only thing left to give you hope. And honestly, I've really begun to think that, like, Crispin's, like, super underrated. My opponent's gonna go ahead and do a bunch of stuff here, attempting to get the attack off with the Regidrago, maybe get into a good spot, but, it's not looking great for them. Seeing as they have very few cards in their hand, I technically got rid of one of their card draw options, which would be the Mew, so if they ended up, like, digging their whole hand down, Mew could have drew a bunch of cards. But they have a research anyway, so it hardly matters. We are going to see the Fez down, and Fez is going to draw them another 3 cards, so they're going to see like a total of like 11 cards this turn. I will say, though, I do not agree with using the Super on first, even if it grabs you the Mew, because we're going to end up flipping the script anyway, so you could have done that afterwards, and now he might have drawn into some grass energies here, which would ruin like the chances of him hitting a V-Star or something, so definitely you should have saved the Super Rod for afterwards. It's not like it was going anywhere. And then we're going to pitifully see our opponent go for Dragon Laser here, as I'm just going to go ahead and Noctowl. I actually really like the 3-2 split on the Noctowls because it feels kind of unnecessary to have the full 3-3 line. You typically don't need it, and I do play 2 copies of Night Stretcher to get it back. Though you could definitely consider either bumping up like the Night Stretcher count or bumping up the I cannot remember what it's called for the life of me, or just bumping up the Noctowl count. I can also see you dropping a Hoothoot instead. But I do like having just the extra option because if one of them goes down for, a stupid reason, or like it gets sniped with like Greninja or something, then you still have like extras lying around. So it's kind of nice to just have the flexibility there. We're gonna go ahead and take out the knockout against Regidrago, and honestly at this point it's just really over because there's not anything that they could do here. I mean, sure, they could Dragon Laser me again, but they would be in a terrible, terrible spot. On top of that, they'd also have to, high roll the hell out of me. So my opponent's likely to concede here. Well, they're gonna Iona first and attempt to break me, which I presume is an understandable place, but they just drew me into my Sada's Vitality anyway, so, honestly, not a great look for them. And also, if I hit Noctowl here, I believe I could just Prime Catcher up one of the dudes. Or he won't even get the Fire Energy to attack, and yeah, he just concedes. Unlucky Regidrago player, but he kind of deserves it. All Regidrago players do. I think one other thing that I really like is a lot of these Regibolt decks have to play a one-prize attacker, and so we've recently seen like the Koraidon from the new set. We've seen Slitherwayne who could bypass Pikachu. I really like Spin Rotom, only because it's super simple. He doesn't require much. He doesn't require you to put like 2 energies onto a Pokemon, or have some other stupid condition attached, or even just like the Slitherwayne, who can, sure, he can OHKO Pikachu, but he also puts himself at fodder to like Sableye, or against like a deck like Regidrago or Dragapult. He puts a bunch of damage on himself, so it becomes bad to use your one-prize attacker in that matchup. And, that doesn't feel great. That's awesome. So I really like the fact that he's just simple, and he can very easily do his attack. He doesn't need a whole lot going for him, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and spin now, which I'm not entirely sure if I agree with on my past self, but it's what we did. And I'm also going to go ahead and Ultra Ball that away, just so I can grab another Teal Mask. Like I said, I'm not even entirely sure if that was the correct play. I don't think I should have done that. But I'm going to go ahead and Crispin. For what reason? Who knows? I feel like I should have maybe just Squawk seized earlier than done all that, but I got the stadium, so I'm unpunished. Honestly, I don't think I can explain or justify the reasons for what I did, but it panned out, so I guess it's value. And, actually getting the Crispin out pretty early is good, because if you're going to use an energy ramp, using Crispin like on your first turn is really not that bad, because it allows you to put energies into play that could later be discarded for the Sada, as opposed to like digging out all your energies to the deck and then be like, okay, now what do I do? And now the Rotom is just going to like go ham, go crazy here. My opponent's finally going to get their setup going thanks to the Rotom draw, but as long as I can find a way to KO, like something on the bench, then I will be in a great position, even though they can technically turn things around. They're also going to go ahead and use their Force Seal Stone, it seems. Unfair stand me, checks out, understandable. Yeah, but also, I'm not in the worst position still. I could definitely dig myself out of here. I could go ahead and like Nest Ball for a Mew, which would be good. But he also just gives me the Charmander anyways, which is like a weird move. But I guess he was just scared of me attacking, killing the Rotom. And that is definitely true, because I got the superior energy retrieval, so I could have definitely attacked him this turn with my Regibolt and taken 2 prizes. But we'll go ahead and accept the Charmander. I still like this play a lot, because it still forces him to knock out a one-prizer, or to commit resources to gussing something up. And I definitely have more than enough tools still in play in order to find my knockout here, which is fine. Yeah, I don't think my set was super great. The only thing that'd like be kinda scuffed is like if they knock out Duskull and then take out, I'm not even sure what they could take out, but they could possibly set me up for a Briar play by knocking themselves out. But I'd be on prizes. I'd only be attacking like 2 prizes for this game, so I'm not even sure. My opponent goes ahead and Ultra Balls here, probably grabbing a Charizard EX or a Pidgeot, is what I would say if, I didn't know that the Charmeleon was coming. He ends up just drawing 3, and honestly, this is still, like, not a great position for my opponent, because they still, sure, they live the roam attack, but at this point, it's like they're gonna be really far behind, and I'm just like straight up harassing them. I'm just kind of running my way here, as we are gonna get 2 Noctowls, which kind of gives me the ability to do whatever I want. I'd like to hit Prime Catcher here, but I see both my Prime Catcher is prized and my boss's orders are gone, so that sucks. Can't really do much about that. But I will go ahead and get my second Raging Bolt here, so I'll get additional value out of my Sadas here. And honestly, I'm probably just going to go ahead and take the KO against this thing with my Raging Bolt here. Because if they knock out the Duskull, it would set me down to 2 prizes anyways, and they can't really come back from this situation. I'm also going to go ahead and just take off the energies on the active, because I'm pretty sure this thing should be dying sometime soon. Like, if it doesn't die this turn, like, something horrible has gone wrong. Even more horrible than it already has, right? They're going to go ahead and counter catcher my Ogerpon with 2 energies, which, you know, fair, understandable. It does mean that I will lose one of my prime attackers that I have available to me, because the Ogerpon can just straight knock out a Charizard EX, and that's really cool. But they're gonna go ahead and retreat again, so it's just like, oh my goodness, they're so lost here. They don't know what to do. They'd really like appreciate a Fez. I feel like Charizard EX has become such a combo deck that they really need the Fez to keep things going. As much as I hate putting that guy down, because like one of the strengths of Zard, it feels like to me, is the fact that they can constantly you know, sub combos or sub win conditions. I'm going to go ahead and Glass Trumpet here. I'm not exactly sure if I should use this now, because I kind of have like way too much in play already. But I am going to go ahead and discard all the stuff off my guys. The reason I'm doing this is if they end up bumping my... Oh, maybe I don't. I think I should take the energy off the Noctowl though. The reason I keep it on is like in case I need to retreat it, but I kept forgetting that it doesn't have 2 retreat. For some reason I thought Noctowl was 2 retreat. But if they end up playing a stadium here, I'll end up losing my energy, because I'm definitely like taking out Rotom, Noctowl, and then maybe Greninja. Oh, and Squawkabilly, duh. So you know, those are like the fodder Pokemon that I don't need around anymore. And I definitely want to take the Noctowl out, because if I end up playing, for an example, if I end up playing a Night Stretcher, I can grab the Noctowl back and stretch my deck back out again. So that's one of the reasons why you want to discard them. So definitely not the greatest play on my end, but alas, it's where we are. They're going to go ahead and quick search, and I believe this is the stadium that I talked about. Or maybe it's Super On. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But yeah, you know, this has not been the greatest game from my opponent's end. They just have not gotten set up until now, and they finally taken their first knockout. Woo. Thankfully, they do knock out quite a bit of energies here, which is good for them. I'm going to go ahead and go to Raging Bolt, because my first thought in my head is I am going to Burst Roy and try to get myself back into the game here. But I didn't top decking Fez anyway, so like, who really cares at this point? I can go ahead and just grab anything, really. I think like looking to see if like if there's any energies in my deck, so I can go ahead and Earthen Vessel, but I really don't need it. I just have enough for everything on the field, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do a clean 420 for knockout. I really am appreciating like the extra waves that deck could go to for game setup. People like, I feel like people rely too much on the Pokestop, and the Pokestop build has just been so good that people, you know, haven't changed from it. I will also say is that I don't think like the best. I think decks only kind of change when like the best players are looking to get an edge against their opponents. Like, who would have thought to put Cloth and Terapagos until that one guy did it? Now everybody does it, right? So all it really takes is one person to make a change in the deck, and I don't think Raging Bolt is a deck that people like. Even if they change it, they're not going to be like, "Oh, this deck is, you know, super fixed now or super broken or whatever." So we typically don't see a lot of changes that way. With these like, you know, lower tier, easier to play decks, we'll see more changes with like Zard, if anything, because you know you have players that respect that deck a little bit more. Also, I will say I go ahead and Earthen Vessel, grab a Fighting and a the Lightning Energy, because I'd rather have one of each of my discard pile. It just gives me the option of like, oh, what do I want to put down, what do I want to do here, a lot easier for future use. And I'm also going to go ahead and Rotom Spin. The best part about Rotom Spin that I have found is that it either forces the opponent to Iono, or you just get insane knockdown value. And either situation is good here, because like it's either I get to search out for 4 perfect cards that I want anyways, and then have a top deck to work off of, or they aggro me and give me a brand new hand. It does suck putting the Noctowl was at the bottom, but since we played 3 Ultra Balls, it's like, I can live without it, right? You know, especially because like most of the deck is just chock full of consistency and other good stuff that will get me further into the deck, such as like the Fez or the Radiant Greninja or just like any of my supporters really. So I'm really not at a loss here, as we just instantly chuck away the Squawk. We don't need that guy around. He's kind of trash. At least the Rotom has the niche of being able to swing into the active in case of I'm item locked, which it does seem like there is a chance for me to do that. I really don't have a whole lot going on here, so I'm actually curious to see if I even like go ahead and pull the trigger on my Noctowns, because I might just be saving them. I think I go ahead and pull one just so I can like Nest Ball and Sada and get some stuff going onto the field here. So I'm pretty sure I'm still committed to my Rotom play, but you know, here we are. Especially because yeah, I already traded the Hoothoot, which hindsight not a good play. Also burned the other one. I don't necessarily think I should have done this, but oh wait, I discard my energy, so I always had to do this. Never mind, I'm stupid. Ignore me. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Fez just to like future-proof for a round. You know, make sure that I have the contingency in case my opponent like unfair stands me or IOs me. I'd much rather just have the Fez out now, even if it technically is like boss fodder for my opponent, because I also have the 2 Ogerpons lying around, so you know, not super like high priority for me. I do think that my opponent is playing a kind of cool version of the deck here with the Dunsparce and the Enriching Energy. It does mean you have insane draws, and I think that this is not the good showcase of it, but it is really cool like how they're operating their whole deck here. I'm going to go ahead and just harass my opponent by pulling up the Charizard and killing it, because this is going to slow down their setup to a halt. But I do think like the Dunsparce and the Enriching Energy is really cute, especially because like Charizard automatically ramps to itself, so you never actually have to attach any energy from your hand in this deck. And yeah, my opponent's going to concede after I mess with them. I believe this is the last game, and this is mostly just like a silly, stupid game. I'm not even sure I should have won this at the end, but you know, I did, and it was kind of too goofy to pass up on. So we are playing against Hydreigon, and I have a weird history against this deck, where I feel like every time I play against this deck, like one person completely breaks. It's not always my opponent. Shockingly enough, the Hydreigon player actually gets stuff going sometimes. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and start Teal dancing first, because I know I can get my value out of this, and, you know, if there's stuff I want to discard, like, it's fine. What am I trying to say? I guess what I'm trying to say is typically there is extra value lying out in the deck, and you don't feel bad about, like, discarding too many things. You know, it's not a deck that we're, like, full on research, but I have no issues, like, turboing through the deck and trying to see where I could go from there. Which is why I like always Teal dance first, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that value later, but I know I can get that value now, and I can just squeeze a little bit more, put up a little bit more. Especially because like you only get one Squawkabilly in the game, so you kind of only get like one moment of that burst draw. Outside of like later with the Roxanne, but the Roxanne is more for the opponent than it is for you. My opponent is going to go ahead and item block me, and I'm really sad they item me, because I had an energy, and now we're here. Now we're where this position is. I don't even have an energy in the discard. So now the play is I'm going to just boss up the Fez and hope they don't have an energy, so I can go ahead and get set up. If they have an energy, I deny them the attachment on the Dino, which is kind of cool, because, you know, I like not dying, as they're going to have the energy anyways, and just, oh no, the Badoo is back in the active. What will I do? I don't know what they're going to Arvin for. I believe they're going to Arvin for like a Bravery Charm and Nest Ball, and that Bravery Charm is so annoying, because now it means that I can't knock out the Badoo with my Rotom Fans. It's like, fuck. And that's also going to cost me 2 energies to knock it out with the what's the guy? With the Regidrago. I go ahead and boss up the Toad School this time. I mean, same thing with like the Taz, and that like I have to hope they don't have an energy. But even if they do attach it, like, I'll stop the Dino from attaching it to the Monkey Dory. So I'm just doing the best I can, man. They do play Janine's Secret Art, which I think is the first time I've seen this in a Hydreigon deck. not the first time anyone's probably ever thought about this, but yeah. And then they go ahead and Night Stretcher, attach, and retreat. I'm like, dude, just get me an energy, please. I know I have one at the bottom of the deck, and I don't have any to discard. So, how many energies did I play? I play 12, so I still have 8 energies available. Come on, just give me one. They end up grabbing TM Evo and Ultra Ball. They end up having to discard the what's it called? The TM Evo for that. I think I've been burning them on all their energies, so they weren't going to get hella value out of that. They do set the Toedscroll, which is like, that's also super annoying. Especially when I'm saying on Energy Retrieval and Superior Energy Retrieval. So it's not even like I could go into a situation where it's like, oh, I'm going to get insane value out of my, what's it called? Out of my Energy Retrieval or Superior Energy Retrieval. And it also means that I might be Energy Star for the rest of the game. They're going to go ahead and Itchy Paw me again, and I'm going to pray. But no, I dropped my 3rd Sadas. This is awful. This is the Badoo experience. As my opponent sets up the greediest setup known to man here. And they even just Itchy Paw back. They don't even do anything this turn. Like, this is definitely like peak Badoo gameplay. Better words, like, there's no better words to describe this other than a peak. This is what Pokemon envisioned, but I finally draw the energy, which means I finally get to play the game, and I get to go in and maybe attack my Rotom. It's not the greatest position in the world. I'd rather not have to do this, because this does mean that they can set up to actually kill my Squawkabilly with the Hydreigon tag, which they finally magically, like, pull into, right? Also, I believe they magically pulled the Neo Under Energy out of their ass, too, so that sucks. So I'm gonna lose, possibly all my support from right underneath me this turn. Definitely losing the Rotom for sure, because that has to attack the active, but they also get attack 2 things on the bench. They do decide to put the damage onto the Greninja, which I'm not sure if that's the right play. But it's what they decided to do, right? I suppose they're setting up for Monkey Door knockout earlier, but I feel like they could have possibly taken out the Squawkabilly. I suppose fair to do all this, because it does mean that I can't use Noctowl anymore. But honestly, if my hand is big as it is, there's no way I don't have the cards that do what I please here. And I'm still really far behind. All they have to do is find a 2-prize knockout in order to win the game here, essentially, because my Greninja's dead to rights here, and I can't really stop it unless I boss up at the Badoo, but I'm not gonna fucking do that, bro. You're not gonna catch me doing that. I do think discarding that Grass Energy is a little suspicious. I don't think I'm respecting the Toedscroll enough, which, whack statement. Didn't think I was gonna have to say that. I do find my last Fighting Energy, and I'm also gonna go ahead and shuffle some bosses back into my deck since I used them all earlier, and I suspect I'm probably going to need them to keep moving forward in the game. I do kind of wish I was able to use the Sada's Vitality that turn, just to kind of put even more energies onto the field, but I'm not sure I really wanted to play with my opponent with a full hand, so I want to restrict them as much as possible, especially this way, because if they got Pidgeot set up, that would suck a lot. Yeah, I really don't have further words here to say it. And now, my opponent is going to be able to kind of play the game. It's going to take them a while to get reestablished, but, it's fine. They go one Dino at a time. So, what's my game plan? Well, the game plan is I'm going to kill the Dino every turn until they run out. I believe they're already a Dino down. Oh, now they're an extra Dino down. As they're going to go ahead and Ultra Ball. I think they grab the Pidgeot here to try and set that up, because they do get Pidgeot online. That be great for them. But I'm just okay, I'm item blocked again, but what can you do? Thankfully, my opponent does actually knock out my Greninja last turn, so I am thankful that I am able to Jewel Seeker here. And straight up, I'm just gonna grab both the boss's orders. I'm just gonna tell my opponent, hey, I know what I'm about. I'm about killing this fucker every turn and gain my value. I'm also going to go ahead and get rid of the Grass Energy, because I know at this point, essentially nothing is going to touch this Raging Bolt, as long as I keep killing the Dino. But honestly, it's getting a little sketchy, because I only have one more boss's orders left, and so if I have to boss up another Dino, it's probably going to be tough for me to find that last knockout. And also, if the Monkey Dory moves this last damage off the Badoo, then that's going to suck. But I really just cannot afford to let my opponent keep doing this. I know they're going to have to super run soon, because I believe the Crispin did not attach an energy onto the field, and they only attached or only added one energy to hand. So my opponent also needs a super rod. I don't think I caught on to this though, as I'm just gonna go ahead, attach, and get the knockout here. Once again, I'm very thankful that the Dino only has 70 HP in this situation, because it does allow me to just, you know, get rid of it and not deal with it. But, you know, I'm still, like, super sketched out, because neither my Energy Retrieval or my Superior Energy Retrieval are going to work, and I'm also, you know, at my end here, in terms of, like, the energy I have left, because I can't put more cards back in my deck anymore, and I only have these Sadas to put energies onto the field. I do think it's still possible, but it's like, like, what left? Thankfully, I have one Grass Energy in the deck, so I can go for 2 energies onto the Raging Bolt, knock it out, and then Sada the last one on, and kill mostly everything in front of me. But, yeah, my opponent ends up just leaving the computer screen and giving up. I don't think I should have won this game, but hey, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball just to, like, double check everything. I also have the Prime Catcher too. At this point, I realized, well, he didn't Badoo me, so I can go ahead, just draw into this Prime Catcher and win the game. So, whippy, yippee, yay for me. Oh, I guess I always have the Prime Catcher in my deck. I thought I would have lost this if I didn't do that, but if I kill the Badoo, then I can Sada and then Prime Catcher. So I'm probably in a good enough position to kill the Fezandipiti. Yeah, I'm good. I'm broken. I'm so good at this game. Anyways. If you enjoyed that video, make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe, and I will see you guys around. Peace.